welcome back to my channel. You're with Boo, your one and only. You already know what it is. You already know what to do. We're with another video. And by today's thumbnail and title, you already know what's going on. We're doing a get ready with me. It's Vlogmas, y'all. So we drop in videos every single day. Every single day of Vlogmas. And I will tell y'all right now, I got a lot planned. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe because your girl's on the road to 2K. Today we are doing, I'm gonna do a little get ready with me and story time. And I was like literally trying to think of like some story times to give y'all. And I totally decided to talk about the one time this is like my ex best friend. We're not really close anymore. And I actually have a lot of story times like involved with her. But anyways, we're gonna talk about my ex best friend, and we're not gonna say any names or anything. If you know us personally and you grew up in Fairbanks, you're probably gonna know who I'm talking about because this was like a crazy situation. So basically, we're about to talk about the time my ex best friend, her boyfriend, now ex-boyfriend, stabbed someone in the head for her. So this is just like a crazy story. The guy ended up living, so I will let y'all know right now this story that I'm talking about. The guy that got stabbed, he did live. I don't necessarily know if he was fully okay. I do remember seeing him at a party after this happened, and he couldn't look straight. It was like kind of really sad. But I'm just going to be telling this crazy story about how this all transpired and everything. And this is like some toxic shit. And I know y'all like toxic, so that's why we're talking about toxic today. So we're going to talk about this toxic situation. So basically, we're going to name my friend, let's name her, we're going to call her Marianne. And then we're going to call her boyfriend, you know what? Bonnie and Clyde. That's their name. So Bonnie is my friend. Clyde is her ex-boyfriend. And then we're going to put Bob is going to be the name of the guy that got stabbed. Okay. So Bonnie and Clyde have been together for like quite some time. When I became friends with them, Clyde was actually in jail. So I didn't get to meet Clyde when I met. Did I just say the name? I'm pretty sure I just said the name. Anyways, Clyde was in jail when I met Bonnie. So, when I met Bonnie, we was really cool friends. Like, we've been friends for some time now. And it was like, we was all like a big friend group. Well, anyways, they was pretty toxic. So, this is at the point when Clyde had gotten out of jail. He had been out of jail for a little bit. But he actually had an ankle monitor. So, like, he wasn't supposed to be going anywhere, and it's, like, hard to remember because this was, like, a couple years ago. This was some time. So, I'm trying to think. I know that they was, like, somewhat on a break because, yeah, they was, like, on somewhat of a break. Like, they wasn't full on back together, but they was, in a way. Because, like, those two, they was toxic. They was, like, if they wasn't together, they was together. Like, everybody knew that they was together. So, anyways, that was really stupid. So my phone just died on me while I was filming. Okay, anyways. So I totally just slipped up and said the name. But anyways, when I first met Bonnie, Clyde was in jail. So I never had really gotten to meet them. But Clyde and Bonnie had been together for some time. And they was on some Bonnie and Clyde shit. And these two was toxic. I spent a lot of time with them. It was like whenever I invited Bonnie to do something, Clyde had to come too. So like we all became like kind of like a trio. Like I actually really did love Clyde as like a brother, despite that he was a little crazy and you know had his little jailbird time. He was still like a brother to me at one point, but he did do my girl wrong. So yeah, for that though, like I always gotta have my girls back. But anyways, we're talking about this specific time when this was like kind of towards the end of like, this is when it was like getting like really toxic. This was like more towards the end of like them actually being together, that I knew them for being together for. So we had gone out this weekend. We had went out Friday. In Fairbanks, we have like a very big military base. That's how I met my boyfriend. He was actually in the military there. But we have a pretty big military base. So like a lot of the new people you meet in Fairbanks are like military, especially like guys. Like most of the females there date military because that's like the only new thing coming into Fairbanks. You know what I mean? Because everybody else you'd grown up with and went to school with for all your life. So you're not really into that. So anyways, we had gone out to a bonfire Friday night, and Bonnie met this guy, this military guy, and everybody in, like, Fairbanks is such a small town because I'm from Fairbanks, Alaska. Everybody knew Bonnie and Clyde were together, like, regardless. But that's the thing, the new military guys, they always, like, seemed like they wanted to prove something. A lot of them came from, like, bigger, like, different cities. They came from Atlanta, they came from Texas, they're coming from New Jersey, like all these other places, and it's almost like some of them have something they want to prove because it's a small town. So you know how guys are with guns and fighting and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of like why military have like a bad taste of mouth to people, to what we call civilians in Fairbanks. A lot of civilians don't like the military there because we get a lot of like the first round young ones who really they're just worried about partying and, causing scenes and stuff. So, anyways, this Friday night we met this guy. We decided to call him Bob, I think that's the name. So we met Bob on Friday night. And what's crazy is Bonnie even told him straight up, like, I have a boyfriend, he just got out of jail, and he'll literally, like, kill someone over me. And she kept telling him he's crazy, he's crazy, but they was kind of flirting back and forth. If I remember correctly, he was from, I want to say he was, like, from Dallas or something. I can't remember where this guy was from, where Bob was from. I really can't remember. So anyways, Bonnie and Bob are just chit-chatting it up. Might I remind you, Clyde is actually on ankle monitor. So he's on probation, ankle monitor, for violating, I think he had violated, his probation. So he got put on ankle monitor. And it was crazy because I have a whole other, like, story about this same couple and same friend, and I even called her my friend after this, but she actually, like, rang up like $500 worth of jail phone calls, and I found out she was stealing from me. But that's a different story time. I do have, like I said, I have a couple story times about her. But anyways, we was out Friday night. Her and homeboy were chatting it up. She was flirting with him. She was telling him, hey, yo, my man's crazy. He was like, well, I don't care. I'll show him crazy. Blah, blah. I'm crazy too. And this guy did kind of give me like crazy vibes. Like, to be honest, because, like, if a female's literally telling you she got a man that's just, like, got out of jail, like, boy, you literally setting yourself up to be, like, some side piece or, like, some Captain Save-A-Ho situation. So the next day happens. I can't really remember correctly who, but Fairbanks is small. I just said the name again. Clyde knows people. He knew people in Fairbanks. So when we was out at the bonfire, people had already, like, seen what was going on between Bonnie and Bob. So Saturday night comes around, and most of the time, like 9 times out of 10, when there's, like, something going on the weekend, it happens at the same place both nights. So we ended up having this bonfire at the same place the second night, and this was, like, a bonfire event where this all happened. Saturday night rolls around. Bonnie already starts coming up to me with, like, a mission and an objective for the night. She's basically like, okay, so, don't tell Clyde, but Bob is coming home with us tonight. And I was like, okay, I mean, like, hey, do you, because, like, my mom was always gone out of town, so, like, I always stayed at the end of the night, I always went home. Usually somewhat, like, my friends usually came with me, like, and stuff. Bonnie usually always came with me at the end of the night. So anyways, So she's all like flirting. We go out. She's flirting with homeboy. She's like, oh, I'm gonna bring Bob home tonight. Fuck Clyde. I'm gonna bring Bob home tonight. Flirting with him. Same situation. Like, hey, yo, my man's crazy. Well, we at the bonfire, and here is Clyde. Clyde pops out, and did I tell you, Clyde has literally an ankle monitor, and he is literally not supposed to be, like, he ain't supposed to be at no damn party. And that's, like, why we wasn't worried. Like, we was like, okay, Clyde's, like, never gonna show up because he can't even be to this party. And at the end of the day, like, okay, I was, like, I was probably, like, 18 or 19 when this whole situation. And, like, the situation between, and I don't support hoe activities. I mean, back then, it was, like, I was always a friend that was, like, go with the flow. Like, so if that's what you want to do, that's what you're going to do. And if you know Bonnie is very headstrong, and Bonnie does whatever the fuck Bonnie wants to do. So there is no controlling Bonnie. So I was pretty much just, like, the hype man. Anyways, all of a sudden, Clyde pops up out of nowhere like a ghost. Like, literally wearing all white, hands crossed, like, looking at us, mugging, watching everything. And I'm watching Bonnie, like, go back and forth between him and this other dude, because her and Clyde weren't completely done, because, you know, it was, like, one of those toxic things. Like, they wasn't done. They was going through it, but, like, they always ended up back together. And they was crazy. Like I told you, these two was, like, toxic. So, anyways, she's going back and forth, and she's playing, like, both sides of the spectrum all night. Like, it was crazy trying to juggle these two. Clearly, though, Clyde knew what was going on. Clyde knew something was going on, because deep down he was getting, like, riled up inside about this situation. So, usually we always stay till the end of the party, but for some odd reason this night, we were, like, ready to go early. We left before everybody else, which is really odd, because normally we'd be there all night. Bonnie's like, okay, hey, this is the mission. It's still fuck Clyde. I'm bringing home Bob tonight. So that's, like, literally still the mission. Even though he just ran into Clyde, Clyde literally didn't give a fuck about his ankle monitor and showed up to this party to stalk Bonnie to see what Bonnie was up to, because he heard some shit was going down the night before. And he was not playing about his girl. Like I told you, these two is toxic. So, we go home, and I actually seen, like, because I worked at a barbecue restaurant, and I had, like, some regulars that, I met, because they was also military. I met them, like, because when they first got shipped into Fairbanks, their sergeants brought them to Big Daddy's. So, like, I had just met them. My friend Maddie was actually talking to one of them. But anyways, I had seen them at the party, and they were actually friends with Bob. So my regulars are friends with Bob, but I'm friends with, Bonnie. So they, like, already knew, like, your friend Bonnie's trying to talk to my man, or trying to talk to our homie, but she has a man, whatever, blah, blah. So we see him at the party. I didn't think any of it. I guess Clyde was still there when we left, and he stayed to linger around. So later that night, we leave, nothing about it. I actually ended up taking Bonnie home. Bonnie ended up doing her own thing. She wanted to do her own thing, and I was like, well, I'm going home, because I'm pretty sure I had to work or something the next morning. So, I go home, and I get, like, a call. It's, like, 5 in the morning. My regular's calling me, and we're gonna call him Kevo. Kevo's calling me, and I'm like, what the fuck is Kevo want? So I answer my phone, and Kevo's like, hey, yo, your friend Bonnie, what was her boyfriend's name? What was her man's name? I need to know their address, blah, blah. Just going off. And I was, like, half asleep, and I wake up, like, in a daze. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, my homie just got stabbed. And your friend Bonnie's boyfriend did it, blah, blah, blah. I need to know where she lives. I need to know her address. I'm talking to the cops right now. And I was like, I'm not giving you nobody's address, and I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I know the hell you're not talking about Bonnie's boo. So I hang up with them, and I call Bonnie, and I'm like, Bonnie, get the fuck up. Like, have you talked to Clyde? Because I have someone call me, tell me right now that Clyde stabbed someone, blah, 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 at the party after we left. So then we're going back and forth, and we're, like, freaking out. Nobody knows where Clyde is. Then I think I actually get a call from Clyde. Because, like I said, we was all cool. Then I get a call from Clyde. It was like 8 in the morning, and he's like, he's like, I need you to pass this message along to Muffin. I'm at the I'm turning myself in at the DPS office, blah, blah, the DMV office. You need to tell her that I'm going to jail, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, boo, and, you know, because I went by boo, so everybody knew me by boo. So we did have a little conversation, and I was like, did you do it? And he was like, yeah, man, like, I did do it. So he did. I can't remember if he ended up admitting to me on the phone if he did it or not, or was kind of like, oh, I don't know what happened. Then, actually, I ended up talking to Bonnie the next day. So when before, like, I had even gotten to talk to her, because I ended up going to bed after all that, because we didn't really know what was going on. So it was, like, the next morning when Clyde called me. Bonnie tells me that old boy got stabbed in the head, and he was still on the phone with her. So, like, he was okay. After he got stabbed, he lived. It did not, like, kill him. He did actually end up living, because we did see him at a party, like, a couple months down the road. But, like, literally while he had the knife in his head, he was calling Bonnie, and he was literally, we told him, we was like, he's crazy, like, Clyde is crazy, and he'd do anything for Bonnie. So yeah, like, and she told him, like, joking around, said, like, he'd kill someone for me. He literally stabbed this guy over Bonnie. And we told the guy, and he didn't listen. So that just shows, like, guys really don't give a fuck. Nothing. I don't know. What about Bonnie? I don't know. What about Bonnie? She had to have done something, put it on this Bob guy, because Bob was down. Because even when he had a knife impaled into his head on the way to the hospital, he was still calling her, like, we're gonna be together, don't worry, like, we're gonna take care of it, we're gonna be together. Like, he was talking to her through this whole time, which was crazy. They did talk and communicate a little bit after the situation. From my friend's point of view, I don't really remember. I'm pretty sure she did have to get questioned and stuff, and I remember it being in the newspaper, because it was basically he attacked him over his girlfriend. So that was all, like, said and done. Everybody knew that was the reason why Clyde went to jail. The guy ended up living, but moral of the story is people are crazy. When a girl tells you they have a crazy boyfriend, believe them and just walk away. Poor Bob really almost lost his life because he didn't want to listen. And yeah, it was just a really crazy situation. Clyde did end up going to jail for some time for that situation. He was in jail for like 1 or 2 years over that. It was really crazy. And then the crazy story also, because Fairbanks is so small, he ended up, like, after he stabbed him, he went into someone's yard and stole a car, and it ended up being one of my mom's coworkers. So it was, like, so funny how the world works and how small the world is, because my mom has actually met Clyde. Like I said, Bonnie was, like, my friend for, like, some years, so Clyde and her was, like, a package deal. So my mom actually met Clyde, but yeah, it was a crazy situation. It ended up being her coworker's car that he stole and, like, left the backpack in there. Yeah, it was just, like, a really messed up situation. Clyde was out of jail recently, but I believe Clyde's back in jail. Bless his soul. That's, like, my bro, so yeah, that's a shame. The military guy that got stabbed, he did live, he's okay. My boyfriend, my current boyfriend, Wesley, he actually, like, worked with this guy, so, and it was really sad because we seen him, like, a couple months later at a party, and, like, he had a lazy eye, like, he couldn't, like, keep his eye straight, so it was really sad. But at least he lived. But that is, like, such a crazy story. I decided to sit down and have this story time with y'all. Bonnie and Clyde is definitely Bonnie and Clyde, so they're a toxic little thing that used to go on back in the day. But if you guys want any more story times about Bonnie and Clyde, let me know, or about Bonnie. I actually do have some more stories about Bonnie, because Bonnie was my friend, but Bonnie did some, like, foul shit towards me, so that's probably gonna be, like, another story time. But make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, because your girl's on the road to 2K. This is the crazy story about the one time my friend's boyfriend stabbed a guy she was talking to because she was trying to play both sides of the bridge. So yeah, that's a crazy story. So until next video, love you guys.